Hello there, it's me, Rebecca. Not Star Giant Productions or whatever. I just want to talk. As a normal person, no sketches and no gimmicks. Just my voice being as serious as I can. So last week I released a video on my channel. It was called Addressing My Abuse. It was the worst video that I have ever made. And that includes all the terrible edited videos that I did for the mysterious Mr. Enter. Which of course is all of them. I am not a fan of who I was in the past, especially 2020 and 2021. Those were probably the two worst years of my entire life. 2021 especially. I was bitter. I was a quote-unquote narcissist. I said terrible things. I shouted at people. Even into 2023 I've been angry. For the original abuse video, I yelled at my editor Willard, who did nothing wrong but continually delayed the video just to make it better. The fact that he stayed my friend is a miracle. Anger is definitely what I've been feeling. I wasn't happy with the person that I was. Some things I needed to go by in the present. I have gotten better at my editing and proud of my own videos on my own channel in 2022 and 2023. I am not a narcissist. I did not abuse anyone or groom anyone ever or allow grooming. I stand by all of this. During the middle of the pandemic, I was at the point of no care, where nothing mattered to me anymore. Like, basically, there was always a new issue going on, and I just stopped caring about everything. Like, I'm pretty sure that every single person in existence had, like, a bad time in the first years of this decade. Regardless of everything that has happened, I need to take responsibility for my own actions. I said shit like how queer is a slur, which is offensive to those that reclaim it, to the point that one of my closest friends from high school actually got in contact with me to tell me that the Q word can be used for good, as long as it isn't in a derogatory way. Those were her actual words. And this is something I said last week. Like, she contacted me last week because of the video I made last week. The reason that I thought it was a slur was because my family used it just like how they used the N slur, hateful way. I also thought with both The Simpsons and Family Guy using it as an insult meant that queer was a bad word, not realizing that millions of people actually are fine with that word and would disagree with me in saying that it's a slur. From what I gather, it's not a slur in the present. This was completely ignorant and wrong of me. I heard that it's best to address the minor things first and then snowball to the bigger things. The most infamous thing was me letting a groomer on my server for 8 months. I'll get to the major things later like that. Let's start with Mr. Enter. When John said if more people were on the level of this, we'd be living in a far worse world now, wouldn't we? From his top 10 worst videos on his channel that he did recently, I got pissed. Because honestly, we'd be living in a far better world if more people were like me. Kind, generous, caring for others. I mean, if John doesn't think I'm actually those things, that's perfectly fine. To be fair, he could have meant just my editing, but because I don't think he worded his words the best, it could honestly come across as either or. But I think he meant my editing in the end. And no, this isn't supposed to come across as me being better than John. That's not the point of this video. In October 2022, I decided to stop making YouTube my job, and decided to make it just a hobby from there on out, with the exception of DuckTales to DuckTales in December. That I needed the money for. And let me tell you, it was for the best. I used to rush people all the time, giving them very little in return just to make a profit. In the beginning, I gave people random numbers for money. Now, in the present, as of 2022, I have an organized system. Here is a screenshot what I pay people in the present. The pay is better now, but for how it was back then, I only have one defense why I was bad with money. I gave them what we agreed upon, which was whatever they thought was good. I gave them a reached upon agreement. Every single person I've ever contacted with was like that. And most of my editors have liked me for that. I think I've had like 13 editors, and only 3, maybe 4 of them have had an issue to me. So 9 or 10 editors actually were fine with what I did. But I get it. In the end, even if one person has an issue, that's still a problem. And some editors didn't even want to get paid money. So that confused me a bit. And got me a bit paranoid, I want to say. Some people were mad at me that I didn't pay them enough, even though they told me prior that they didn't want to get paid. Some people were also mad at me I didn't pay enough, even though the original price was what we agreed upon. Sometimes I might have forgotten to pay, but they never informed me for no reason, despite them having direct contact with me. It's weird. My life up to December 31st, 2019 was pretty good. But then January 1st, 2020 came and my world got turned upside down. Once the decade changed, it didn't happen all at once, but as time went on, it just got worse and worse. The peaks of these days, as in the worst of them, were probably June 6, 2021, the day I got fired, and October 8, 2021, when I got that video from John, and actually lost another job the same day. I stand by what I said in the abuse video about John. One lie equals 1,000 lies. As in, if you tell one lie, it's assumed that everything you ever say is a lie because you can't be trusted then. Like John did lie about Soul. I still don't know what that ending song is, the one he says it was too loud. That was entirely on him. I did not put that super loud song on, to the point that I don't even know what the song's called. There's also that whole, it's not my fault, you focus on the wrong things mantra. That's a stupid mantra. On my second channel, I uploaded 3 of my old reviews from John that I fixed up. Certifiable Super Sitter, See Me, Feel Me, Know Me, and Soul. So I actually didn't fix up at all, it's just to prove what the original was like. All of these, of course, are unlisted, and only meant for my closest friends to see. Currently, I am 26 years old. Life expectancy is usually 78. That means I am 1/3 done with my life. A part of me feels like I peaked in 2019 at the age of 23. Although, considering that I keep gaining subscribers, maybe I haven't peaked yet. That's wishful thinking. But my videos don't get the big numbers that they used to. I used to get over 2,000 views a video under a week. Now I'm lucky if I get over 200 views in that same amount of time. The abuse video of mine, well, let's be honest, it should just be called 3 hours of unnecessary bitching at this point, because that's all that it is. Or rather, an hour and a half of me talking about Mr. Enter than everything else. And a lot of the bad editing was on the fact that John didn't always send clips. Like, the only time I recall John sending anything for me to use for editing were Opposite Day, he sent the movie, the Family Guy episode Christmas Guy, he sent that one to me, and Thundercats Roar. That's all I remember. That's how I don't get the watermark. Most of the things I didn't get sent. The fact that other editors like Crimson Mayhem had everything sent to him really bars me. Why does he get everything sent but not me? Nikorama, I was... Like everything for Nikorama, I had to find the footage myself. Which is why sometimes there were watermarks. I had to go to sites that didn't have the best stuff. Eventually I did find better sites. At the time I used Kim Cartoon, which is a virus site today. It's better to use Watch Cartoon nowadays. Speaking of Nikorama, I was only given 3 hours to edit each video, with bad direction. Some episodes of Nikorama did go a little extra hours. Like, I think the best edited one was The Legend of Korra, because I put music in and much better edited footage. But that one took 8 hours to do. Meanwhile, the rest, I had 3 or 4 hours. Robot and Monster was done in 4 hours, but right after that review came out, Mr. Enter told me that I had to do everything in 3 hours. Here is a screenshot to prove my case. Speaking of bad direction, the scripts were written horribly towards the editor. Want to know why the "this cat looks like a Neopet" bit has no cat?
I'm not going to defend things like not fully exploring shows, factual errors, and shoddy editing work. This cat looks like a Neopet. What cat? There is no cat in the shot. You see, this happens when you don't have enough time to look over said shoddy editing.
The script does not tell me where to find it. Here is a screenshot to prove my point. Or what episode it comes from. Which is why Enter in his videos on me mentioned that. But also I, can correct it? Like, I have corrected it since.
This cat looks like a Neopet!
So, what made me want to take down my abuse video? Because it wasn't who I was. I thought about it long and hard. And I decided going forward that me digging my own grave is not what I want. What I want to do is entertain people. To make them smile. To laugh. To have people be happy. I've been that way for a very long time. Possibly for the entirety of my life. My actions have no excuses. I will not defend myself on anything. I've seen it all, like people getting mad at me for blaming others like Enter's team. That was wrong for me to do. Regardless of who is right, my anger was not justified. I am kinda surprised that this became my most disliked video ever, percentage-wise. For comparison, the Mr. Enter video that I made originally in 2021 has a 27% approval rating currently. Meanwhile, the recent abuse video only has a 23% rating, and that's just in less than 1 week. If it was up longer, it would have been in the teens, possibly in the single digits. A lot of it was trolls. I will say, it is a waste of time that people did to respond to that and put my OC in a clown outfit and to change the video title to My Narcissism. I do get social cues, I really do. But the internet is extremely difficult for me to process, especially with known liars. I don't see their faces, all I see is text. And text is difficult for me to process, so saying that I'm great at them is incorrect. I can read a room, but not when the room is dark. When John tried to use that party comparison, or the 3DS When John tried to use that party comparison, I have no idea if he meant just the server or me as a person. Maybe in the server that he was in, sure, but as a whole, I 100% disagree. It's why I got Chelsea in for a testimony to prove that I care about others. But it could just be, once again, not fucking listening to John like everyone else says. I regret talking about his Homer Batman review. It's still a bad review and my least favorite review from him ever. I get why John said the expression, I'd rather get raped than to be accused of rape. I really do. But to me, it was worded terribly in that video. One thing that did make me sad was how much I helped Hope out and then she threw me under the bus. She wanted to kill herself 20 times, and I helped her avoid that each and every time. From March 2020 to September 2020, I helped her, and I regret not having the DM screenshots/server screenshots to prove my point. Even then, I deleted my original Discord account in December 2021 due to excessive harassment. One thing that I shouldn't have talked about in my abuse video was Koda. Me mentioning his private life was definitely uncalled for, and there is no excuse. There are no excuses for my actions. Here are some of the most notable explanations. I got sexually assaulted in the fall of 2018 having PTSD for 9 months. Or me dealing with an abusive ex-girlfriend who manipulated me in the summer of 2020. Making me make terrible decisions like editing Lights Out fast or that dumb Animac idea that I couldn't contact Hope to cancel earlier because I came up with the idea. She accepted it and I was traveling to Ohio for fun. But by the time that I got Wi-Fi there, she already exploded so I couldn't have told her to cancel in time, and this was back in July 2020. My ex-girlfriend, from what I remember, basically said make everything go fast, do all this stuff because the world's about to end because, the pandemic, and we both thought that we were all going to die that year.
Sorry, son. I moved our house to the top of a hill because the view is so much better.
So, you finally come.
Yes, I am here to seek your wisdom. I've come across a problem that I just can't understand no matter how much I think about it.
Well, what is it? You have come to access my infinite wisdom.
Please tell me, how does a cartoon episode with no animation have an animation error?
I must meditate on this. Give me a moment.
6.5 hours later.
I've got it! Everyone involved had absolutely no clue what they were doing! Oh, and he's gone.
Not gonna lie, when John brought up most issues on his video about me, I didn't know or remember them. It's kind of interesting to me that people have wasted their lives re-uploading the original abuse video while making my OC look evil or also putting me in a clown dress. Some people have said that I need everything spelled out for me, which, I gotta be honest, yes, I'm sorry, I really am. When I got fired, I just want to know why. That's the only thing I want to know. Why? I know why now. My editing was bad. I asked for too much from a couple of people at a harsh deadline. I didn't pay the best, but I'm still mad for how I wasn't told. No, I don't want to hear despite telling Rebecca, because I wasn't told by John's team at all once why I was fired. I meant at the end. I wasn't told any of this until John's video on me in October 2021. I honestly like my own channel stuff 2022 and 2023 way more than whatever I did for John. I wish more people were open to me sooner that my editing was bad.
Rebecca was my best editor.
See, despite me playing that as a joke, I had close friends of mine, even to this day, think that's the truth. So am I John's worst editor ever? John's best editor ever? The answer is yes to both. The truth is asking the right person. There is no such thing as being base. To John, he says that I'm the worst. Some of my friends say that I'm the best. Me? To tell you the truth, I don't have an answer. Because all 6 editors did amazing jobs when editing for John. And 5 of them also fucked up at times. The first guy only edited 1 video so they don't qualify. but everyone else has had their own problems. Anime being, I remember having the OC disappear a couple times. Crimson Man would often not have the correct footage shown, which I'll play the original abuse video that I did right now that called it out.
In one episode, Diana, Wonder Woman, fails at doing everything because she's in love with a boy. This episode outright and literally states that Wonder Woman is literally a symbol of female empowerment. And this is the episode they have her completely inept over a boy with. This is some kind of chalk zone, only bad ideas get erased shit. And then 4 of our superheroes think that the best solution to this is to try and outright kill Diana's crush, because that's what a good role model will do.
The scenes are incorrect. Wrong episodes as well. This is what should have been played.
In one episode, Diana, Wonder Woman, fails at doing everything because she's in love with a boy. This episode outright and literally states that Wonder Woman is literally a symbol of female empowerment. And this is the episode they have her completely inept over a boy with. This is some kind of chalk zone, only bad ideas get erased shit. And then 4 of our superheroes think that the best solution to this is to try and outright kill Diana's crush, because that's what a good role model will do.
Sarah has the blur effects, I remember, and shows the black bars, like even in the most recent video. And Coda will often have the OC shake too much, and also the blur on the OC, like the fades. And you can imagine some of the problems that I had. Like the text, for example. I still think that Certifiable Superstar is John's best review ever, and I had fun editing that one. Although I did a re-edit on my second channel, which is better than my original take on it, which once again is unlisted because I don't want people going to that channel right away. I guess that's the best answer. I liked how my editing was back then, but looking at it in the 2020s, it needed improvement. Outside of my videos on John, I used to copy him a lot. Most of those videos have been deleted. One defense I want to give is that people think I copied John in my 12-ounce mouse video with the car scene. As you can see right here, there's like a comparison clip. It was actually a parody of Azumanga Daioh, specifically because the teacher in that show can't drive well. I didn't even know about John's plane scene from his MLP video when I made my original review. The text I put in was just basic text. Last week, I watched a tutorial on Sony Vegas, and I was taught a couple of things on how to improve the editing. Although I did hear about these things in the past because I've been improving the text since October 2022. Let's talk about editing as a whole. It's called style. Every different editor has a different style. A part of me wishes this was black and white. Either everyone loves me. Hell, I would prefer if everyone hated my editing. That way it could be better to parse. But no, it's half and half, or more hate me, but a lot still love me. Sadly, I take random cues. Oh, so what if the text is bad? The rest of the review is good. Certifiable Superstar is still John's best review ever. Who cares if I didn't know what seizures were for See Me, Feel Me, Know Me? Ignore that part and the rest of the video is good. And even then, that seizure proves what will happen to people with epilepsy. Why John didn't remove it prior is beyond my knowledge. Like the SpongeBob clip, that's what happened to you if you have epilepsy issues. One thing to keep in mind that I was only given a Google Docs once, which I can't find, that had John saying my editing was bad. This was a day after the Opposite Day review came out, but never anything after that. One thing I do regret is shit-talking John for things that he did that weren't major in the end.
This film takes place less than a year after the September 11th terrorist attacks. I bring this up because it radically altered the culture of the time, in ways that make this movie feel exceptionally ignorant of the time. Even though, literally, the only reason I can comprehend that this movie is set explicitly in 2002 is because the director grew up in that exact year. Yes, this film takes place in Canada, not the United States, but all over the Western world. Canada, America, the UK, much of Europe. People were paranoid because 9/11 wasn't the only terror attack that had happened. It was the major theme of the decade. I mean, I can understand not wanting everyone to be so fearful, as that goes against the tone that the movie is trying to establish. But then you have very awkward moments if you actually were there and you do actually remember the time period.
I am better than John. Really? For that dumb take. You don't even get 1,000 views per video anymore. You are in no place to judge, especially for a guy that gets much more views. Although, it is weird that I got more subscribers last year than John. Memes last about 5 weeks and then they're dead forever. That's what happened with the Turn Red 9/11 meme. I won. I won what? Being stupid? Getting 5 new pages on Enter's Kiwi Farms thing on this abuse video tells me yes. I only ever got quick notes after opposite day if I ever did anything wrong. The 2020s broke me. I cared about nothing for the first 2 years of this decade. Going through all my problems would take forever, and they don't really relate to this video. Once February 2020 came, nothing mattered to me anymore. It's been 3 years, and I want that facet to change. I said a lot of shit. You probably even saw art from my past I regret making. Thank you, June the King, for making that video, and that's not an insult. I did see this video, and it gave me advice. Albeit I heard the advice prior. Don't put sketches in serious videos. I got that. Crimson directly gave me advice on how to do response videos, and editing in general. It was strange for Crimson to say that my editing was always bad, not gonna lie. But again, when people say that your editing has been good for years, then all of a sudden people pull the rug and say, psych! You can bet that didn't put me in a good mood. Especially when I was always told by people that my editing was good. I am a broken human. I have had a lot of hardships in the past. Who cares if John calls himself a professional? I call myself his best editor ever! So we both fucked up. One of the reasons I did call myself the best editor ever wasn't just for the fact that I love my own videos the most compared to the other editors. It was also for the fact that I had the highest number of subscribers compared to the other editors, which is still true to this day. Me being at almost 75,000, while the second highest, Crimson Hand, isn't even at 7,000. And yes, it is stupid to measure in that metric, but still, that's how I was back then. We all have things in life that we used to love that have aged badly. For example, pieces of media like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and My German Parts Monkey for me. I watched my older videos that I did for John, and honestly, I don't like how they are in the present. So many watermarks and logos were left in those videos, and those black bars as well. Weird since Sarah put some in the recent Zombie Island 2 atrocity. I thought John wanted those gone by now. What was wrong with putting the normal enter background with the black bars? My form of communication is simple. If you have an issue with me, you must tell me right away, regardless if it hurts my feelings. I know for a fact that I burned too many bridges. Some people won't forgive me, but there might be those that will. I need a taste of my own medicine. If people think that I'm making this video for clout or social brownie points, I don't blame them. I'm not doing that obviously, but I can see why. Especially since I said that towards Hope. Even though she pissed me off because I was worried sick for her, with how she wanted to end her life, and I finally snapped. But I at least apologized and she forgave me and then didn't 9 months later. And she was still on my server even after blocking me, so I couldn't tell if she blocked me or not. We all have lives, and we all won't notice everything. It's why I didn't notice that Hope blocked me in May of 2021, because Discord doesn't give you a notification when someone blocks you. But that's a separate discussion for another day. Also, me saying get a fucking life at the end of my abuse video probably didn't help matters. For the record, I never wanted to hate John. He really was a fun guy. Heck, on John's 10th anniversary, I made a tweet congratulating him for making it to 10 years on YouTube. I loved his work all the way up to December 2019. Then January 2020 happened and everything went downhill. It honestly felt like I went into the downward decade. I snapped a lot, towards a lot of people. I snapped at Parallel Girl simply for hating Nicaramo to me blocking her on everything. The fact that we made up over a year later with me apologizing was a miracle. I thought I would have never been a friend ever again. At that moment, I was done with John. I told him that I wanted to quit, but he encouraged me to stay. Oh, just stay editing for me, please? We only got a few episodes left. We're almost done. Those were his actual words. He didn't want to fire me or see me go. He was the one that wanted me to stay, not the other way around. I don't have the proof for that, unfortunately. I really wish I still had the DMs of us talking. It's lost somewhere on Discord. By the way, I'm not watching John's videos ever again. They make me feel uncomfortable to watch. Searching my name up on Google and YouTube still gets you bad results on me, but this is the life that I have to deal with. If people don't think I'm gonna change, I'm not gonna tell them to go fuck off. This time I'll say, I understand. If I'm honest, I wish John would delete his video on me because I just want both of us to move on from the past. I do want to change, for the better. Not just by my standards, but better for my friends, for my audience, for people that just want to see me heal. When you've been on the internet for 10 years, it can do things to you. I've been on YouTube for almost 10 years, yet an actual 10-year-old is more mature than me. This is something that I need to change. I'm not asking for forgiveness, that is not the point of this video. I understand that John won't ever forgive me, but John, or any of his team watching like Sarah, Coda, Grace, Hope, Ava, Jordan, Lulu, I'm sorry for how sour our friendship ended. I really wish we could have parted ways on a nicer note. I really do. And from the bottom of my heart, I regret not ending on a better note. I even planned on leaving after the Soul review since it felt like a high note to end on. Imagine what my life would have been like ending it there. I guess I kept going because money. It's like what I did for Nicorama. I just kept going because money. I don't forgive John. I will never forgive John. Ever. If you forgive John, that's perfectly fine. I won't stop you. But for me, he's done too much damage to me to really care for him ever again. The last issue that we get to talk about today is my biggest fuck up, regarding Nekopan. I fucked up big time with Nekopan. People tell me that she was a creep, with emails and even videos as evidence, but Neko manipulated me into thinking that she wasn't. A part of me on why I didn't ban her earlier was that in 2019 I accused someone else of being a creep, but then they got their lawyer to try to sue me, but I was able to avoid it because I took the video down, and I was afraid if I called Neko a creep I would have had the same issue. Plus, she wasn't arrested, so that kind of had problems. I did keep a creep on my server for 8 months, I will admit that. But I did that only because I thought she wasn't a creep. And she was nice to the people on my server, until I learned that she wasn't. Like, if I had known sooner that she was a creep, I would have banned her immediately. Neko is one of the main reasons why I don't allow minors anymore on my server. Which, in hindsight, social media should not have minors, but again, another story. People like Phantom Strider and Kai Smash Universe told me that Neko was a good person, so I listened to them and left it at that. At present, they both think that she's a horrible person. Like the Nicorama statement, I sadly don't have the screenshot to prove my side. And I'm sorry to Neko's victims that I hurt by not bringing her to justice sooner, by not banning her much earlier in life. To end this off, I'm gonna follow this catchphrase that I invented 5 years ago. Be better today than yesterday. It's a quote I still love to this day, and even follow. But